Hello, my name is Chris and today I would like to talk about New Year's Eve. To be more specific, I'd like to talk about getting through New Year's Eve celebrations and parties without a relapse of any kind. What I'm going to talk about today, I'm mainly going to talk about in terms of alcohol and maintaining sobriety and avoiding a relapse in recovery, mainly because I think alcohol is so prevalent at New Year's Eve. It tends to play such a big part in so many celebrations. But what I'm going to say, just because I'll be talking about alcohol doesn't mean it only applies to alcohol. What I'm going to say hopefully will apply just as much to you if you are quitting smoking or trying to avoid a relapse of pretty much any kind. Before we get into that, just a reminder that the first monthly live stream of 2022 will be taking place on Saturday, January the 22nd. That is at 6:30 p.m. UK time. I now, thanks to my wonderful friend Vicky from Finding Freedom, have all of the different time zones for different parts of the United States. You will find those in the description below, along with a link to the where the live stream is going to be, so that you can set a reminder or a notification if you wish to. And I will also put a link, of course, in the card above. That is January the 22nd. That's a couple of weeks away. Today is New Year's Eve is right around the corner, so we're going to talk about that. I think the first thing that is very important to mention is that just because it is New Year's Eve does not mean that we are under any obligation to go anywhere or do anything, especially if going to that place or doing that thing might risk us having a relapse, might do us some harm or make us uncomfortable, or, you know, like I said, bring us to that point where we end up with a drink or a cigarette or whatever the case may be. I understand, you know, that if we've been invited somewhere, we may feel some kind of pressure to go. We may feel like we have a sense of obligation. This person has reached out and asked me to go to this thing, so I kind of have to go. No, you don't. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do, at least with regards to, you know, your recovery, your freedom. You know, and I also understand, well, yeah, I've been invited, but, and it would be nice. It would be nice to go, and it would be nice to dance, and Chris, I want to go and celebrate New Year's. But I'm going to spend all the time that I'm there constantly worrying about a relapse, constantly being on my guard, constantly having to be vigilant. And I think if that's the case, you know, if we're going to have to go to this event and be super vigilant all the time, how much fun is it really going to be? You know, and if we feel like we have an obligation and we go to this event and we end up paying for it with a relapse, was it worth it? Was it worth it? You know, is anything worth the sobriety, the freedom from nicotine? Is anything worth throwing that away? And I don't think so. And I don't even think that if we miss one New Year's Eve, we're particularly going to be missing much, right? I mean, isn't every New Year's Eve kind of the same thing? We've done New Year's Eve before, and it doesn't even mean that we can't ever do New Year's Eve again. You know, there may be time next year or possibly the year after when we're good and confident and strong in our sobriety or in our quit, that this video isn't even necessary. We can just go and we can enjoy, and we don't have to be looking over our shoulder. We don't have to be vigilant about a relapse. We can just enjoy it. But for right now, if this moment is feeling like, yeah, there's kind of a risk involved here, then we're under no obligation to go there. You know, we can celebrate it next year. We're not missing much, right? And just because we don't go doesn't mean that we have to sit on the couch and do nothing all night. It means we can find our own fun thing to do that is safer and better for us, that is more aligned with what we want for ourselves, more in line with what we deserve. And then you say, yeah, but Chris, if I don't go to this party, if I don't go to this event, people are going to think that I'm rude. People might think that I'm miserable or boring or unfriendly. People might think things about me. And to that, I only have 4 words to say to you. Who gives a shit? Other people's opinions are none of our business. And we can't change other people's opinions. And if we're letting other people's opinions control our lives, these people don't deserve that. Those people have no right to control the decisions that we make for ourselves. These people don't have to live with the consequences of our actions in the way that we do. So I stayed home, somebody thought I was boring. Who gives a shit? Especially when I know that I'm not boring. Especially when I know that I can stay home and have a really good New Year's Eve and actually have something that I'm going to enjoy. I'll be honest with you, I haven't been out on New Year's Eve for a number of years now because, to be honest, I find that boring. I would much rather stay home and do the things that I find, I get joy and passion out of. Doesn't mean I won't ever go out again, but I don't have to. And I don't worry what other people think of me about it because, like I said, it's not their life. Those people don't understand where I have been. Those people don't understand what I'd have to deal with on a daily basis. Those people, I can go, you call me rude or boring, I say, well, okay, I better go to the party, but then I'm spending all my time constantly nervous about a drink, or I end up having a drink. I've let somebody else's opinion determine whether I drink or not, or determine whether I smoke or not. And I'm not prepared to do that. And just because, I've said, okay, there's no obligation to go to an event or to go to a party that doesn't feel safe for us right now. That doesn't mean there's any obligation to necessarily stay home either. Even in COVID times, there are going to be all kinds of things going on over the new year that, maybe don't have, where alcohol isn't as prevalent, where, cigarettes aren't as prevalent. I'm sure there are plenty of things that we can do if we do want to get outside the house. That are going to be safer for us in that moment. Or better yet, if we do want a party, because parties can be fun. I'm not saying let's never go to parties ever again. I like a party. Not a New Year's Eve. I don't really like New Year's Eve parties, but I like a party. So if you're of the mindset of, I really do want to go to a party and dance the night away for New Year's Eve, maybe you're the one that plans and hosts it. I know it's short notice now. This video goes live on a Wednesday, New Year's Eve is a Friday. So maybe a bit short notice for this year, but for next year, you can, if you're hosting the event, if you're planning the event, you have more say over, how much alcohol, it's very early in the morning, I can't speak. What the hell was I saying? Oh, you have control over how much alcohol there is. You have control over who you invite to that party. If there is somebody who's going to be problematic, who is going to, either trigger an emotional response in you or apply pressure to you and try and convince you to drink, you don't have to invite them. Again, you are under no obligation to do anything that is going to put you at harm. You can control that situation to an extent, or at least you can control it in terms of how you deal with it. But let's say I've said all that and you're saying, yeah, but Chris, you don't understand. I have to go to this thing. I just can't get out of it. How do you then keep yourself safe in that environment? Some of the best and most simplest ways to stay safe if you are going out on New Year's Eve is just to do the basics. If you drive, plan to drive yourself there. Not even to give other people a lift. but to drive yourself and yourself along there, or to drive with somebody who's going to be very happy if, you know, when you say, okay, I've had enough, I need to get out of here, just to go with you. You know, so you've got your own car, and at any time you need to get the heck out of there, you can just go. Again, you're under no obligation to stay or say anything to anybody. Your safety, your sobriety, your smoke-free journey is priority. The only obligation you have to yourself, or no, I shouldn't say that, the only obligation I have to myself is to maintain that. So if I need to get the heck out of there and parking the car outside, I have no responsibility for anybody else. I can just get in the car and go. You know, whereas if I'm giving people, you know, if I'm being the designated driver for the evening, then I have a responsibility to other people. And although I could put my foot down and say, you know, I'm going now, you either come or you don't, I'm going to get some stick for that. I'm going to feel bad that I've left people at a party and all this, because I'm not a bad person. You know, so I'm not going to be anyone's designated driver. I'm going to take care of me and me alone, or me and a supportive friend, which is always a good idea if you have someone who is supportive to take them with you. You know, I've just said there's no obligation to give anybody any excuse for leaving. You know, you can just go. But I think one thing that I like to do, and I've suggested this in so many videos, is to have an escape plan and to kind of sow the seed before the event that, look, I might have to leave early. You know, I've got work in the morning, or I've got something to do with the kids, or I've got this, or I've got something that means, you know, or even just, look, you know, I'm really tired, I've been feeling run down, I'm going to come for a bit, but I might leave early. I think that's the one I tend to use. I'm not feeling great, I might just leave early. And I always say, I might leave early. Not I definitely have to. You know, I will say, look, this is happening, I may need to leave early. If I do, I'm just going to go. Whereas if I say, I definitely have to leave your party at 10 o'clock, regardless of what's going on, and then I get to the party and actually it's fine and I'm having a good time and I'm not concerned about drinking or smoking or anything else, then again, I'm under no obligation to go home. I can stay. If it's going well, I can stay, but then as soon as it does stop, come on, Christopher. As soon as it stops being fun, as soon as it starts feeling unsafe for me, then I've got that fail-safe of, hey, remember I said I might have to leave? Well, I gotta leave. I'll see you in the new year. Something else that we can do that I think is so good is to take something with us that reminds us of the journey that we're on, something physical and tangible that we can keep in our pocket or about our person. You know, I think if you're, you know, in a 12-step program and you have the, you know, the sobriety chips, stick it in your pocket. You have a piece of jewellery that reminds you of someone who is proud of you or who wouldn't want you to, you know, be putting yourself at harm. Wear that jewellery, keep it about your person so you can see it and be reminded of, like, oh yeah, I'm on a journey here. My sobriety, my recovery, my freedom, my health, that's what's important to me. You know, it might be a coin, you might write down your list of reasons for getting sober or quitting smoking, stick them in your pocket. You know, you never have to even get them out. Sometimes just, and I know you can't see, but I'm digging into my pocket. You know, it's going, I've got that. It's there. It's with me. You know, it might be a watch or anything. An item of clothing that you really like, and like, you know, especially if you're quitting smoking. I've got this new shirt, and it smells really good. And if I smoke, it'll stink of cigarettes. So I'm going to have something physical about my person that reminds me why I'm on the journey that I'm on, so that when I get into those environments, if they do prove to be unsafe, if they do prove to be a source of temptation, I've got that first line of defense of going, oh yeah, I'm not doing this, I'm not going to do this, and here's why. Another thing that may be helpful is to do something positive and nourishing and good both before and after the event or the party or whatever it is. Before we go into that environment, do something good and positive and that, you know, is kind of an act of self-care, whether, you know, whether we decide to meditate or have a bath or do some exercise or play our favourite music or whatever it is that relaxes us, makes us feel positive, calm, in control and ready to go. Because when we're heading into any environment, feeling good about ourselves and our well-being, I think we're going to be less tempted to throw that away for the sake of a drink or a cigarette or anything like that. I think if we go into these into these environments feeling good about ourselves, we can get through anything. You know, even if that temptation does arise, we're like, yeah, you know, I could drink, but I just had a really good New Year's Day, it's not New Year's Day, New Year's Eve day, enjoying my sobriety. I had a really good day enjoying feeling fit and healthy and well. And I don't want to sabotage that now. You know, and likewise, if we plan something good for after, you know, something even better for after the event, then I think that's going to help us to maintain our sobriety and to avoid that relapse as we go through the day. You know, I know a lot of people like to go for a nice fresh walk on New Year's morning. You know, I'm going to go out into nature and breathe in some fresh air and just take some time to go. And it might be I'm really looking forward to going on this walk, but if I get drunk tonight, then I'm going to be hungover and I'm not going to want to go and do the walk. Or I'm going to spend time with, you know, nieces, nephews, kids, and if I'm hungover, I'm not going to want to do that. Or I'm going to go to the party for a little bit and then I'm going to come home and celebrate New Year's Eve at home, and if I'm drunk, I'm not going to do that. Have that thing to look forward to after the event. So it's like, this thing that we've got to do that might be uncomfortable or you know, might be a bit problematic is sandwiched between two really positive and good things for us. It means all we've got to do is get through this bit. You know, and this bit is manageable. So I always talk about, you know, one day, one step, one decision at a time. We don't have to do our sobriety all at once. We don't have to quit smoking all at once, because that is impossible. We only have to deal with the moment that we are in. We can shrink that moment down. I've got this really good positive thing. I've got this one thing that's probably not so positive, but I'm prepared and ready for it. And then I've got something else that's really positive on the other side. And all I've got to worry about for now is this bit. I can deal with this bit, because I have been dealing with this bit. Day in, day out, one day, one step, one decision at a time. I've been making these good decisions for myself, and I have come so far. I think that's the last point I want to make. You know, if anytime you may be going into any environment that, you know, may pose some kind of a risk or temptation, is to remember how far you have come. I'm guessing if you're watching videos like mine, sobriety or quitting smoking was not necessarily the easiest thing for you. And yet you did it anyway. You may have got knocked down, but you got up again. And they're never going to keep you down. You may have been through challenging situations that were far more challenging than a New Year's Eve party, and you got through them. You got through the cravings, the withdrawals, you got through, you know, that initial period of, oh my goodness, something needs to change. You did that and you are here. And if you can get through that, not only does that mean that you can and will get through this New Year's Eve party without a relapse, it also means, you know, am I really going to throw... I had an opportunity to drink maybe when this really challenging thing happens, and I didn't. So am I going to drink for the sake of a New Year's Eve party? No, I'm not. Why? Because I'm worth more than that. Because I deserve more than that. Because I value my freedom, I value my health, I value my happiness. And I understand all too well that a relapse will deny me all of those things. You know, my health, my happiness, my freedom, all of those things are the price that I pay if I relapse. And I'm not prepared to pay that price, because I deserve better in my life. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope that has been helpful. Hope it's given you something to think about, or just helped you to pass the time. For more videos like this on a weekly basis, I normally do talk more about quitting smoking, but I've got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about in the new year. So if you'd like more videos and you haven't already subscribed, please do so. A like on the video also helps as well. This is the point in everything where I promote my book. It is called Quit Smoking and Be Happy. It is available in print and ebook form from Amazon.com or your own country's Amazon page. The link is in the description below. One last thing, if you would like to work with me one-on-one with your quit smoking, I do offer individual support sessions that are available via Zoom. You can get all of the information on my website, cjstherapy.com/stopsmokingsupport. Again, links in all the usual places. Thank you so much again for watching. Have a safe, wonderful and happy new year, whatever you decide to do. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.